All right, welcome back to the show. Today I've got a founder on who's building something that cold emailers and sales team have been quietly losing their minds over. A database of over 59,000 SaaS companies which one credit unlocking every single employee at a company. We're talking full contact info, not just the CEO's inbox. Stuart Brent, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be here. 4 years ago now, 5 years ago, I had an idea how to find unpublished company email addresses. I built a service around that. That didn't get traction, so I pivoted and research funded companies and sent out just like the data every Monday. But that was like hard for people to use because it was just literally a giant CSV file. So I knew I needed an actual database, and I knew after all these failed startups, I needed to validate the idea better. So I started talking to people saying, what data is missing in the market? And people kept saying SaaS. So then I said, I'm going to build a SaaS database. Will you pay for it now? And I'll build it later. And
Cool.
did like I did decent revenue, like pre-selling it, and that made me feel very good about it. So then I hustled and I launched it, and that's the story arc from, hand coding websites in 1995 or so to being finally with a startup that's getting me some recognition.
That's a cool origin story. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's get into it because one of the things that jumps out about SaaSyDB is the depth of context per company. Like you're not just, I would say, handling people a founder's email, you're surfacing low-level employees, mid-level managers, all the way up to C-suite. So how are you actually pulling that off? Like what's the research system doing that others are not?
So I'm kind of tight-lipped about my research system because it's kind of, it's proprietary. It's a secret sauce. Um, I will say that there's ways to find them, the idea of the employees at all the different companies, and then beyond that, I have an algorithm that finds the employee email addresses. And then, like any other database, I'm also using different APIs to enrich the data. So kind of standard stuff there just to add more data points. And I use, of course, now AI to make sure they are a SaaS company. Because as you probably know, in a lot of databases, something's marked as a SaaS, but it's not really a SaaS.
Yeah,
Or like in Sales
verification.
Navigator, you don't even have a SaaS filter, so people are searching like software development. So then you get SaaS, but you also get agencies. So it's just like a convoluted system to pull in the information, find the contacts, figure out the contacts, verify everything, and make sure things are crisp and clean. Because I think that's a real benefit is trying to have like pure SaaS lists that are going to be SaaS companies. And then, ironically, I thought it was a great idea to find everybody possible at the company. I still think that's a good approach, but most people do just want the founder. So, and I'm going to focus more on just like the higher level people. But I do research when possible, lower level and mid-tier employees, because those can be good for different kinds of campaigns. Like at the screen printing company, for example, we don't want to pitch to CEOs. We want to pitch to operations people and office managers. And you may want to run like a cheerleader campaign to, a developer and try to get him to
Yeah.
convince his boss. So I think it's just more valuable. Also, people can use the list to build like ad campaigns to target everybody at a company and so on. So I just think it's a better approach because a lot of people will think of, I'm going to pitch the CEO of the company. If they don't close, they think, or if they don't respond, they think, oh, that's done. I'm not going to pitch that company. But you should really
Exactly.
pitch everybody you can until you get, either an absolute no or a sure, we'll check it out.
Here's, I think, something I think a lot of people underestimate. You only do SaaS companies like you are not trying to be the everything database. How much of
Yeah.
an advantage is that laser focus and why SaaS specifically?
SaaS specifically because when I asked people, it's what they said was missing in the marketplace, like a good, clean SaaS company database. I think SaaS is interesting. I always wanted my own SaaS. I've worked on some, and it's just sought after. And, I couldn't launch as a one-man show and build an everything database. So my initial thought was I will build this sort of research system in a cookie cutter database app, and then I'll research SaaS, and then I'll research like breweries. I'll research all these different little niches, but there's just too much to do for one single niche database that I've just had to be focused on SaaS because I don't know.
Spot.
You can't do everything, and you can narrow down and be like the guy for the one thing, and that's
Yeah.
important to get
Do
traction
one
and
thing
get
and do it
anywhere.
good, right?
Yeah. And I have people sign up. They'll sign up and it's called SaasyDB. It talks about SaaS companies and they sign up and they say, "Do you have real estate?" And I'm like, "No, it's just SaaS." So that's the focus. You have to be if you're going to build your own database and you're a small company, it needs to be hyper focused. And I think that's where the future is anyway in databases. It's like hyper focused niche databases and so you can get better results than using like the big ones that everybody uses.
Totally worth it. Okay, so let's get practical for a second. Walk me through what using SaaSDB actually looks like. Someone signs up, they have got credits. What happens next? Like take me from login to order outbound funnel. Just a simple overview.
Okay, so
Good to go.
great. Okay, so there is essentially two kinds of searching. Right now in the app, there's the company search page and the employee search page. I launched with just the company search page, so we'll start with that. Um, so right now there's about 105,000 SaaS companies researched in the database.
Okay,
You can,
huge.
yeah, so my goal last year was to hit 100,000 by the end of the year, and I did that. And then I'll keep adding more. I'm not sure how many SaaS companies actually exist in the world. I I I think it's under 200,000. There's no clear way to know what the absolute number is, and they're always
But
being
you're still
created and
there.
they're
We're
always
almost there,
dying.
right?
Yeah, I think I'm getting close. So you can narrow down here uh, by, the industries or the keywords in the description, or by the employee range, what country the company's based in the most recent funding round. So you narrow down, and then, if you wanted to look, France is a good SaaS market. You apply it, and then 3,000 French SaaS companies. If you wanted to, only look for companies who had done pre-seed and seed rounds, you could apply filters and find those. And then with any paid plan, you can export the company information. And then you can people take it and they, and put it into Clay and do whatever enrichment, or they take it and they put it through Apollo just because it's like a cleaner SaaS list. And then if you wanted the employee information, employee search page, obviously, very similar search filters, but also job people are put into standardized job departments and job roles. Plus, you can search for, the founder or whatever keyword, and go
Okay.
through, and it will calculate how many employees are found with those filters. And then it takes a minute, but it'll calculate how many companies total. Because, like you said earlier, it is one credit to unlock everybody at a company. So, so that's how it works in a nutshell. A quick overview. I'm just, researching more employees at the companies. I'm adding more data points and um, just trying to make everything more rich and more robust. And there's a lot to do. It's like a
No
massive
problem.
project for one
Yeah.
person.
Good luck.
I have a VA and I have, that's about it. But it's really just me grinding away.
I would say you have really outdone yourself, and like people are talking about it. So there's something really good being built. That's why people are talking about it. So good luck with what's being built ahead. Okay, so you have got some solid testimonials, like one user generated deal flow with $1 billion company on the first with your first campaign. That's a wild result. What do you think was different about that campaign versus what they had been doing before?
So people find success with it because it's, like Apollo is huge and Apollo is lovely, but everybody uses it. So those people who are in Apollo get pitched all the time. So since I have leads that aren't in the other databases, those people aren't getting pitched all the time. So your response rate's gonna be better. Like, Taylor Heron, he made a video comparing my data results to other big databases, and he just saw better results because these people aren't just being pitched all the time because they're not necessarily in other databases, and that's a big difference.
Great. All right, so you're still in beta, like there's a golden ticket lifetime deal floating around. Where's this thing headed? What does SaaSDB look like in a year or two?
So my huge goal for next quarter is to completely redo the backend architecture for the data so that it'll be easier for me to update and research and add more data points. I want to add people keep asking for an API, and that's something I really need to have soon. I think that the Clay community specifically will love that. Webhooks, and it's just I want to add technographic data. I want to add data points on if they're running ads. Just essentially more data and more data points and more filters to make it easier to get specifically what you need out. And yeah, like the lifetime deals you mentioned. Early on, I sold a lot of those. Now I'm limiting it to two per month and then trying to lean more into monthly and annual plans just because it's the steadier business model. But selling two lifetime deals a month for that high ticket as a bootstrap guy, that helps. It makes me, sleep at night.
Oh, love it, Stuart. This was really fun. You are building something that makes a lot of sense in market that really needed it. Thanks for coming in.
Of
Okay.
course.
All right, folks. That's Stuart Brent from SaasyDB. If you're doing any kind of outbound to SaaS companies, cold email, LinkedIn agency, prospecting, go check it out at SaasyDB.com. They have got a free trial with 10 credits so you can actually click the try tires with before spending a dime. Link is in the show notes, and we also have a discount code here. Let Stuart Brent describe himself.
Yeah, so 20% off any plan, and that's recurring if it's a monthly plan with Ammar 20 as the code. So we can share that too.
Yeah, I will share that on the link. We will see you next time. Thank you.